Hey guys, we have a special guest today on the podcast. We have Venom Snake 141 from the podcast for the 141. He can never just let me have one time. One time. All right, guys, we'll see you in a moment.
Let the chaos begin! Controllers clacking, mics are hot, gamers on deck, we talk a lot, tech, Twitch streams and viral scenes, we're living the dream behind the screens. Gaming, streaming, chaos supreme, the crew that breaks your algorithmic dream. From pixels to madness, we light up your feed. It's Mr. Stubbins, Vigi, and Nimbus, yes indeed.
Welcome to the show.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Pull the Trigger Podcast. I'm Mr. Stubbins. Today I'm joined by Vigilante360, Nimbus Maze, and then we also have a special guest, Marwen Heni. Is that right? Or is it?
Yep, that's me.
Okay. I wanted to make sure it's pronounced correctly. Also known as Venom Snake 141. He is the host of the podcast for 141.
Yep.
And we're glad to have you on here.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. I mean, I've never been on this side of things, so I'm curious on how this gonna, come out, or I don't know. I'm interested. So yeah, thanks for having me.
So now that we started, can we tell them now this is like a 6-hour podcast?
Oh my god!
We're
This was not part of the agreement we had, but yeah, let's see.
Buckle in. You're in for the long haul.
This is
we
when
brought
he starts telling us
snacks.
he's going to charge us per hour.
Yeah. All right, so this was a 30-second podcast. Got
Oh
it.
yeah, one of those trucks. Yeah.
Thanks for coming, guys. We'll see y'all next week.
That's him. All right.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so for anyone who hasn't listened yet, what is the podcast 141 in your own words?
Okay, so Podcast 141 is as a podcast that started as, something normal, like one-on-one interviews. When I had the idea, it's going to be a long story. I don't know if you have the time to hear it.
Take all the time.
Okay, so I was part of Call of Duty clan back in the day, and we had some sort of disagreements, about how we're going to do things. So I thought, you know what, I'm not going to be part of this. So I just had to leave, and I wanted to start my own thing. And then I invited 2 other streamers, and we were sitting down, and we were like, what can we do, So they wanted to do in the Call of Duty tournaments and Warzone tournaments and all that stuff. And I was like, we can also do something different. And they were like, what do you have in mind? And I told them we can do a podcast about gaming, like the same way you're doing, the same thing you're doing right now. And we did, I think, 2 or 3 episodes. We actually covered Call of Duty Next events when live on stream. And then I was like, you know what, let me invite one of the Call of Duty actors, just to spice things up and, make them fun. And I reached out to James C. Burns, who was the OG voice actor of Frank Woods. And, it's always hard to invite someone, especially like a celebrity like that, when you literally have nothing. So, because usually when I reach out to someone, I want to invite someone, hey, can you show me what you've done in the past and what kind of show you're hosting? And I had nothing. And despite that, he was like, yeah, let's do it, So it started like that, and that gave me the energy to do more of these. So I started reaching out to more, actors behind the characters that I love. Because I usually invite the people that I'm interested in, not just for the sake of it. Hey, this is a new game that just came out. Let me invite that actor. It doesn't work like that. I just invite those people who shape the characters that I love in those video games, like Resident Evil, Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, Metal Gear Solid, those games. And yeah, it started like that, like one-on-one interviews, and until season 2, where I interviewed Mars Lipowski, who's the voice of Gromsko. And then we invited Jim Boven, the voice actor of Koenig. And for that episode, I reached out to Mars, and I was like, Mars, would you like to come back and co-host that episode with me? And he was like, yeah, let's do it. It's going to be fun, just a chance to sit down with another actor who worked on the game. And that's how it started. So from like the first, since that episode, when we invited someone new, we always invited someone who was a previous guest on the show, you know? So with, Resident Evil, when we interviewed the voice actor of Krauser, we invited the actor of Albert Wesker, and it worked like that. So at that moment, I figured out, you know what, this is going to be a very interesting concept, just to, bring people together and just give them the platform where they can sit down and interact, and which was never heard of, because usually when you watch all the other interviews, you don't see anything like that. A lot of the actors work on the same game, but sometimes they never meet on set or during the recording, or, or maybe never, So that was the idea. And we did the season 2 finale of the show. We invited some of those actors who were part of that season. And for season 3, we doubled down on that. And we did some bigger cast reunions like Assassin's Creed 1 and the Black Ops 6 reunion. And so that became a staple of the show, basically, just to invite someone new while keeping in mind who can be a very good fit for this conversation. And that's how it's worked. It worked in the past 2 years, basically.
That's awesome. It seems to be working out quite well for you too, to be honest. And I've seen a couple of your episodes. They're usually not during the times that I can actually watch them because I'm at work. Yeah, but
he's too busy. I know.
The ones that
he's a busy man. He's a busy man.
I can be. Ugh. But the ones that I have seen are very they're fun to watch because you get to see a whole different side of these voice actors that you normally wouldn't get to see, and you get an insight on their feelings towards the game, as well as just really getting to know the person as a person.
Yeah.
And I really like that.
So, but just to add to that, basically, when I started doing this, I used to, because we was talking about a lot of questions, a list of questions, 100 questions, stuff like that. So when I started doing this, I used to do my own research on the person, on their work, and all that stuff. And it was, I'll be fully honest with you. I don't go back and watch those early episodes, to be honest, because I was still new to this, and I was more tied to the questions that I prepared in advance, So, but with season 2 and, with all these people involved, we agreed on, we're going to do our own research, but we're not going to write any questions. So all those conversations were not scripted, just, obviously
more of a natural feel, right?
Yeah. So we just show up with, all the information about the actor, and we just, have a normal conversation with them. So,
That's awesome.
When you show up with all the information, you're like, all right, so you've bought quite a lot of Chipotle in the past couple months. Is everything all right? Is that the kind of information that you're looking for? Or is it just
are these your receipts? I found these receipts
showing
in the trash
showing
can.
them photo evidence of you have a private investigator tailing them for a little bit.
I would do that to Vigilante if I would ever have him on the show, but we try to, because this is interesting. So when I invite someone that I have never interacted with in the past, the first question is how are the episodes done? I mean, I'm a little bit nervous when I'm doing these things. So, and I'm telling them it's gonna be a normal casual conversation with your peers, and obviously me being there, but you don't have to worry about anything. So the main focus is try to make those guests as comfortable as possible.
Right.
That makes sense.
And we usually go into these the bigger, I would say the bigger interviews, such as this one. We do come in with a base set of questions, but generally speaking, we're about the same, right? We want to keep it a very comfortable atmosphere. We want you to be able to just say whatever, and express yourself and just tell your story.
Yeah,
I'll say questions are just good for probing to the next topic. But I mean, you're here to tell us about your podcast, about you. We want to know about you and what you've done and what you're doing, so. And
how you've accomplished what you've built and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I do. I love the way that your podcast is set up, and I love the the foundation that you've built for it. It's great. And the fact that you were able to get these names on just by reaching out, right? You didn't have any prior experience with these people. You just was like, one day I'm gonna hit this guy up and say, hey, do you want to come talk to me on a podcast you know nothing about?
Well, here's the thing. Just to let you know, this was not an easy journey,
I wouldn't think so.
There are a lot of factors that have a lot of influence over this. So I'll give you a small example. So I was lucky to get certain people because I'll tell you a small example. So when I invited, I just did a bunch of Call of Duty episodes at I think right until season 2, basically. So the first season was mainly focused on Call of Duty, and when I started inviting people from Resident Evil, I invited Craig Bonatowski, who portrayed Albert Wesker in the Resident Evil 4 remake, and then I invited Krauser from the same game, the guy behind Krauser, Mike Kovac. So when I invited those on the same episode, I also had another name in mind, like a big name, which is Nick Apostolidis, who portrayed Leon S. Kennedy in Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 4 remake. So, and I know he's a busy guy, right? So it was, sometimes you got to be ambitious, but not too ambitious, just to be fully honest here. But I was thinking I'll just go ahead and try. So I think I emailed him, I don't know, maybe 18 months ago. I don't know. And I never got a response. So, and I noticed he didn't do any interviews. But when I reached out to the other guy, who Marcio Moreno, his name is Marcio Moreno, who he played Ramon Salazar in the game. So when I invited him and I told him, hey, I'm thinking about inviting you and Nick, to do an episode, and maybe we can invite back the other guys to co-host. He was like, you know what? I've seen your podcast. I've seen Craig and Mike post about it. And so in other words, if you're lucky enough to have those actors see, I don't know, like a clip or, the other actors posting about it, that gives you a little bit of credibility, So, and it worked the same way when I invited someone from Assassin's Creed, the main guy who played Evo, Assassin's Creed. He saw the actual Instagram post and he commented on it and it was like, "You're gonna be next." It was a joke, as a joke. You're gonna be next. So, yeah. And I just messaged him afterwards and he was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So, it works, and yeah. And just to add to that, there's another big aspect, which is credibility and how you what's the English word for it? Your reputation, basically. Because I've recently heard from someone that works at Call of Duty that they've heard about me, and they heard good things about me. So, and I was like, that's the last thing I've ever thought I would ever hear, So, right. Because you're doing this and you're trying to do this just to achieve some positive impact. Because the only reason why I'm doing this is trying to, just to bring people together, as I mentioned, give them a chance to do fun, to have fun conversations and do fun stuff together. Why not? So the main focus would be to try to make an impact instead of what am I gaining from this, Because a lot of people are not doing this, most of them at least. They want exposure, they want to be known, they want to be famous.
Yeah. They want to use it as a stepping stone.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I'm just doing this because I want to make an impact, and I think that that intention, I think it resonated well with the actors because it's not something I take for granted when I invite them back and they're like, let's do it. Because a lot of, I don't know if you've seen the post on Discord, but a lot of these people like co-hosted, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 episodes. They're not gaining anything from this, basically, other than, the chance to meet those other peers and actors.
Well, I would imagine a voice actor if I ever was able to do a video game and somebody like your style of podcast was like, would you be willing to sit down and just talk about it? I think that would be really cool, from that aspect, just being able to kind of tell their side of the story, and you get to hear their story, then people who listen to you get to hear their story, and maybe fans of those actors are like, wow, I never knew that's how they got into it, and maybe it inspires them to follow.
And there's also another thing. When I'm not in the entertainment industry basically, but when you have co-hosts who are also actors and voice actors, especially when they work on the same project, there are certain things that I'm not aware of that they actually bring to the table, to the conversation. There are so many things that I never, so many ideas or topics that I never had in mind, but one of those other co-hosts were like, yeah, let's talk about this, which was something that I never thought I would discuss on the show, basically. So having those actors be part of this gives you other perspectives on how to approach the conversation.
Yeah. That's cool, man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I think one of the coolest ones when we did the charity event.
Yep.
Was listening to, I think it was the voice actor for Dr. Gray, and she was saying like how she got it. She actually did the recording in her car in her garage, if I remember right.
Yeah.
And it was like, you don't have to have the best setup to start doing some of this. And some of these people got these gigs by just, I was in my car in my garage about to leave for work, and I just recorded something real quick.
Yeah.
That's the thing about voice acting is you don't need a big setup, and I've heard this from several different voice actors who said it. You don't need a setup. You don't need something like professional. Just record it and send it to whoever, or just do it, right? A lot of the times nowadays, these cell phones and portable devices that you have are good enough to get really good quality stuff out of without a big setup.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think the main focus, when you approach these auditions, is just to do the best audition that you can and send it and forget about it. That's something that I hear all the time. So you don't have to stay focused on that one gig that, until you reach the point where it's actually the thought of, getting or losing that role can really consume you. So I hear that a lot, and I actually, when I listen to these, conversations on the show, it just gives me a new perspective on life. I've learned it's not like me as a person. I've changed a lot since I started doing this because, first of all, these voice actors are one of the coolest people I've ever met. They're very gracious, they're very helpful, and they're stories and their insights, I think they make a difference in how you see things. So, like, first of all, one thing I've learned is if I wanted to have someone on the show that badly, so I want to get this actor on the show. It used to, especially in season 1, when I was inviting people, it took me like maybe 3 weeks, 1 month until I get someone else on the show on board. I thought it was not an easy journey, so I email or message a lot of people, and I hear back after 3 weeks, 1 month, and that's gonna be the next episode. So I had to wait so long, and the reason why is because I wanted to target like the main guys or the high profile guests, because I wanted to have them on the show no matter what it takes. And I started moving away from that with season 2, season 3. So I just invite who's like the next person that I have in mind. And I eventually know that one of those guys that I want to have on the show is going to show up eventually. So just to give you a small example of this, Bruce Thomas, the actor of Adler, he was scheduled to be on episode 5. I talked to the guy like the episode 5, like when I started the show. He had some other plans, so we didn't do it, and it took me 28 episodes just to get him.
Oh wow!
So that's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of time.
So April Nicole, for example, the model of Rose in the game, in Modern Warfare. We talked back and forth, I think 2 years until we did the episode. And then she came back over and over again. So I think one of the things that you need to learn when you do this is stop, obsessing over those high profile guests or those, episodes where you want to do this or that. It's gonna happen at some point, but you just gotta pave the way for it to happen instead of.
Well, it sounds like. Sorry,
go ahead.
You. But it sounds like the way that you've modeled it versus the way other people have modeled it is like a night and day difference. You're more of you want to connect with the people and you want to hear their stories and you just want to have casual conversation. Whereas, like you've said it before, some of these other people are caught up on trying to get the big names and they're trying to get that. Maybe that 15 minutes of fame because they interviewed, some big name celebrity and they're missing out on all these other people who are willing to just sit down with creators and just talk and tell their story. So, I mean, it sounds like you've got a pretty good model for the way you've done things and, you still have ambitions of who you want to, but, it's almost like if anybody's willing to talk, that's in that realm that wants to sit down with you. You have the door open for them.
Oh yeah,
would that be correct?
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think that you have like this whole the way like Nimbus was saying. I'm sorry to interrupt again, but I feel like the way that you have it set up, it's more inviting for people to keep coming back.
Yeah.
Instead of it being just like, oh, it was just like a 15 minutes of fame for them.
Or just a really one and done
kind
of thing.
So here's the thing. Like most of the people that I had on the show, I'm actually friends with. I talk to them all the time. We call each other all the time. So a lot of these people, I'm still connected with on a daily basis. So the reason why is because, okay, so here's how I see things. When I invite someone to the show, I don't take that for granted. When they agree to be on your show and take the time to be there, it's not like something that should be taken for granted. So the first thing I do after doing the interview off stream, of course, we have the conversation. If you want some help with this or that, or if because you need to keep in mind these are mainly actors, voice actors. They're not really familiar with tech and a lot of stuff and social media. So you want to offer something in return. So that's what I usually do because I follow these people. I see what they do, what they try to accomplish. So when I invite someone, I know maybe they need to work on their social media, maybe a little bit better. So I tell them, hey, this is something unrelated to the conversation we had, but I noticed you're trying to do this. So if you want to help with that, just let me know, So I don't know. I helped some people establish their Twitch accounts and they started streaming. I helped some other actors do social media posts. I'm still helping Bruce and Damon with their podcast, which is something that I never expected, to be honest, because when we did the first charity stream on around Christmas time 2024, we invited Bruce and Damon, and they were like, we want to make a big announcement. And they said they're starting their own podcast, and the Godfathers podcast, and they want to announce that on my show. And I was like, wow, I've never ever thought that I would hear that from them. So it was a big honor, just the thought of it, Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Yeah.
So was that the charity event that we participated in? Was that was your very first one?
No, that was when we did the season. Here's a funny story. Back in season 1, we as I told you, when we did the season 1 finale around Christmas time, same time, 2020 is it 2020? 2023. Yeah. So we invited Jeff Shine and the other actors, James C. Burns and the other actors. And for season 2, we had no plans for a season 2 finale. So we were sitting down, I think around December 7th, if I remember correctly. And I was talking to Mars, and Mars asked me, are we not going to do a season 2 finale? And I was like, you know what? I've never thought of that, Because a lot of these episodes take a lot of time to especially schedule. And to coordinate and all that. So I was really exhausted. And I told him, you know what, I have no idea. Should we do like a season 2 finale? We invite the same people back and do. This time, maybe we do it for a charity. Maybe do a fundraiser. That was the easiest episode to set up. I was talking to Moss. I was messaging the actors. Hey, we're gonna, and instead of asking them, are you gonna be available on December 21st? I told them we're gonna do this on this day. You have time to show up, even briefly, and and everyone was like, yeah, let's do it. So all those people, I think the next day we had a lineup of 25 actors, and I was like, okay, so let's do it. And we just had a 4-hour, 5-hour stream, just casually doing silly things, like villain monologues. I don't know, funny conversations, funny stuff. And cool. Some of them were drinking, so it was a very, very unusual setup for us. It was a fun experience. So that was the first charity stream.
So speaking of Jeff Shine, for all the shit talk he did not show up.
Yeah.
He did not. We were hoping we'd run into him. We never did.
So here's the thing. Jeff decided. I think he decided. As far as I know, he decided to be the main villain. So he wanted to be the antagonist, and he wanted to play that role. So that's why he did what he did on the.
Well, it worked.
Yeah, we needed a villain. Like, we needed a face that we can associate with the villain. So he wanted to be the guy.
That was probably one of the more like. I haven't really done many like charity events, but I felt like that one was it was fun. It was
a lot of fun.
It was.
I was happy to be part of it. And I'm hoping to be in the next one.
Yeah,
it was fun until my friend stabbed me in the back at the very end of it. But
I mean, we won't talk about that.
We're not going to dwell on the past.
I don't know why he keeps bringing it up if he's not going to dwell on it, but
Let's go back in time a little bit. When I reached out to you, when I was watching your stream, and when I had the intention to invite you to be part of the event, some of you were a little bit skeptical, right?
I was very skeptical. I'll straight up admit it.
I mean, to be fair, whenever you're streaming on Twitch, a lot of people try to come and go, hey, you want to do this? We can get you a lot of,
Yeah, and at the time, like, I'm still not, a big streamer. I'm just this guy out here having a good time playing games with my buddies and putting it online for people to watch. And then randomly, somebody like you pops in the chat and is like, hey, I'm doing this big charity event. I'd like to invite you to come play. And immediately the thought is, especially with people like us, the smaller streamers who get this all the time.
There's an entry fee.
yeah. But it's always some sort of, hey, give me money. I'm going to help you grow. Blah, blah, blah. It's that scam, right? So I immediately, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to ignore it. But then after stream, I was like, you know what? I'm going to reach out to, and I was talking to my buddies. I was like, I'm going to reach out to this guy just for shits and giggles to see if it was legit at all. I said, otherwise, if it was a scammer, I'm going to fuck with him until he leaves me alone. But
it
turned out to be legit, and it was probably one of the best things that I could have agreed to because it was a lot of fun, and it was for a great cause. What did we end up raising? Did you finally get a final count for that?
1,260 or something. But the campaign is still on. The campaign is still on because we're gonna capitalize on what we raised last time, and we're gonna raise more funds for the second edition, which is something I'm working on.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, because $1,500 or whatever it was is nothing to shake a stick at, especially for a good cause.
I mean, that's something that they didn't have, right? So that's some money that they didn't have prior to what we did. And you need to keep in mind, because I was talking to them the other day, and they actually told me, hey, if you wanna have someone that you can talk to at any time, here's their contact. And we were talking about, what we do. And I told them, the main focus of why we're doing this is not just the money, but you want to raise awareness to the whole concept, cancer and cancer research. And
one of the coolest things that came from this, from our side, not only was being able to have that chance to play games with those names, the Call of Duty voice actors, Craig Morgan, the country singer. I mean,
I'm still blown away by that.
The coolest things that came from it was when, and I think it was on Stubbins' clip, but they put it up, and the organization that we were raising money for commented and said, "Thank you for what you're doing," and that's awesome.
Oh, my promotional clip I think I made for our team. Yeah,
they
that was awesome.
Yeah, they're one of the coolest people. I mean, when we were looking for a charity, to do an event for, we had some other names in mind, but I was going through, their socials, and I was like, this is some cool stuff they're doing. Because they do a lot of events and in real life and marathons and all that stuff. And I was like, this is something unique, because some of the other organizations, they just do everything online, but these guys are going way beyond.
They're actually out there trying to raise the awareness and the money for it. Because to me, like, the ones who are just like, oh, you can just donate here online, they're just taking the money. They're not putting in the time and the effort to try to raise the awareness for what cause they're going for.
Well, and it's a lot easier for people to want to give money to something that you could see a face of the person who's doing it. Like, if you're giving to this charity and you've seen this CEO or this whoever, like, you that's the thing. That's what helps people get more money for stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Because anymore, it's hard to find a charity that's actually raising the money for the charity.
Yeah, hard to find a charity that's legit like that.
Yeah.
Those because a lot of times it's core value.
Because to me, if it's one of those things, like, if they're like, oh, if you donate this, you get a T-shirt and this and that, and it's like, okay, so you're just basically taking my money and paying for that. You're not actually taking the donation.
Give $20 and you get a blanket.
Yeah.
If I'm donating to charity or raising money for a charity, I don't want anything from it. Don't try to bribe me with your T-shirts or whatever. Like, just put that money straight towards the cause that you're promoting.
Every cent matters, right?
That's what I did this for, was for the charity. So yeah, I agree with that whole the T-shirt thing. Is like, it just feels like a scam the second you see it.
Now there are some though that are true, but they do still want to reward people for donating. I know there's one pretty local to Stebbins and that's pretty consistent. They talk about stuff you can get, but there's still
you need to keep in mind when you deal with charities. This is how I see it. You don't need any incentives to do it. No one just came to me and told me, "Hey, let's do a charity event." Because here's the thing. Like, for example, this is like a question that I have in mind. Why don't these big streamers do more of these? You know what I mean? Yeah. Because
a lot of big streamers want money for it. They want paid for their time. And it's like, why?
But why don't they do it?
Why not just raise the money?
Why don't they have all the means? The visibility, the exposure, everything they need to make a successful campaign. I'm asking the question: why wouldn't anyone do more of these things?
This is a common question that we've had on this podcast.
Yeah, I was scratching my head like the past year. I don't know.
Why do the bigger streamers not want just to have fun? They want money. It's all about money. That's why and we've talked about it several times, but that's why when you go into the bigger streamers, they don't acknowledge chat at all.
Unless you pay for it.
Yeah. And it's not, I don't know how they succeed doing that. That's my question. Like, how?
It's because, so it's kind of like what I've heard before, you turned your brand into a cult following. They kind of turn themselves into that cult following, so people just want to be there because they want to be a part of, like, oh, I'm
one of the
so and so
famous guy in his chat. Whenever I show up, he's greeting me back or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. That's all I want, is somebody to say hi when you jump into a chat. You don't have to talk the whole time, but acknowledge that you're there, right? Yeah. Acknowledge, say, okay, cool, thanks for coming. Even if you don't acknowledge like each individual person, like I do now, I will try to acknowledge everyone, but I get 16 people. That's not hard.
Right.
But let's just say for an example, and this is not throwing any shade towards this guy. I love him. Like, he's a great streamer, but the Burnt Peanut, the other day I raided into him. He had 65,000 people in his stream. I did not expect him to acknowledge that in the least bit, but he does go out of his way to talk to chat, though. See, that's the difference between him and some of the other bigger streamers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You go into another bigger streamer, they won't acknowledge you at all. They won't say, "Hey, chat, how's it going?" They're so engrossed in their game, they're so engrossed in what they're doing. Unless you're throwing money at them, they will not say a word to you.
And that's
pretty much, unless you're throwing money at them, but they pretty much leave their mods to be the ones to like talk to chat. And it's like, no, I'm here for this person. I'm not here for that.
To an extent, I get the whole letting the mods run the show thing. I get that because it does. And again, I'm going to throw it out there for that same example. The Burnt Peanut, 65,000 people in his chat. There's no way one person is going to keep up with that.
Yeah, the issue that is like, because a lot of people have asked me, why don't you just put your episodes on Spotify and YouTube and all that, and maybe do it on YouTube instead. But I told them, like, I know most of these people that are like 99% of the people that show up on my chat or that I interact with on socials. I know them. I talk to them. But once you reach that point in time where that person becomes just another viewer, you got to figure out that maybe you're disconnected from your actual audience. Mm-hmm. So I would honestly prefer if things would stay this way instead of just talking to just people that I know nothing about. So yeah, I would prefer it this way.
Right.
100%.
And that's fair. That is fair. It's just that it drives me nuts that there's just no interaction.
Well, and see, I think that's kind of what, separates your podcast from other people doing things or whatever. You're interacting with your people. These people, so they're gonna want to watch. They're gonna want to partake. They're gonna want to consume what you have because you're making them feel like they're known and they're seen. And people who feel known and seen are more likely to come back to
100%.
Vigi stream or Stubbin stream or watch your podcast.
100%.
Because that's what people want until you cross over. Yeah, until you cross over. It's the same thing in the big streams, too, because you've got people who go in there. Like Vigi, when he rated out, he knew it was very unlikely that he would get noticed. But there's people in there in that chat who've probably sat in that chat for hours thinking maybe this is the time he'll read my message and give me a shout out or whatever.
I've been there. I used to watch streamers back in the day. So I was one of those people who just wanted to be seen because I used to, watch certain streamers, and I was, very happy when they responded or said something back. So I've been there, but like one of the things that you need to keep in mind is those people are the ones who, make you do what you do, right? So if I'm doing this for those people, so those people should feel valued. And this is one of the reasons why, because when we did the Warzone event, the Warzone Chat event, we wanted to invite the actors, their teams, obviously, the players, the community. And I came up with the idea, let's invite some streamers. And I didn't expect, to be fully honest, that certain streamers are going to be like, hey, what am I gaining from this? So, and I was like, you know what? So let's stay away from those big names. And I was like, I'll just go on Twitch, just watch certain people for, let's say, 15, 20 minutes without saying a single thing. How they act, how they talk, how they, if they are chill and cool, And this is what I've been doing. So all those streamers that you've seen on being part of the event, those people I just randomly stumbled upon on Twitch, and I was watching for, let's say, 15 minutes before I said something. And I was like, this is the kind of, streamers or players or whatever that we want to have on the show, because these are cool people. These are people who are going to value the opportunity. These are individuals who are going to understand why we're doing this, instead of those big names or like, yeah, what am I gaining? So, because when you start to have that conversation, what am I gaining from this? It's a lost cause. So there's no point.
I will go out and say that I'm still so grateful for the fact that you showed up randomly in my stream and started talking to me that night, because that was great, and I loved it, and I can't wait to be a part of the next one.
I hate it.
If I can. Obviously.
I partially hated that I actually had to go to bed for work, and I missed it. But then I woke up the next morning and he blew up my phone. Like my phone
I was
had
like, bro, you have
30
no idea what you just missed.
It was like 30 messages. Like, dude, right after you left, this dude joined, and it's legit. And I'm like, what?
To be fully honest, if we had some more time to prep for the whole event, because here's the thing, this is one of the biggest things that I've ever done. That was the biggest stream ever on Twitch that I had. I think I had, 130 viewers, which is something I didn't have prior to this. And like the content itself, I wished I could have done things differently, because certain things like came to life when I was doing the event. I was like, oh, I should have thought of that. Certain aspects. So if we had more time to prep for the event, because you also need to keep in mind, I've done, 90, I think Parakeet helped me with the campaign. She does that all the time when we do the fundraiser. She takes care of the campaign and the page and all that. But other than that, I had to talk to the actors. I had to convince them. I had to invite the players. I had to figure out who's going to be playing on which team,
Yeah.
So a lot of time went into coordinating and scheduling and convincing Vigilante to join us as well, and to prove that I'm not scamming him or anything.
I was like convincing Vigi that you were not a scammer.
Yeah.
Well, kind of going back to you saying like, you wish you would have done this or that. It's like, you won't know certain things until you actually start doing it. It's like kind of like when we first started streaming. All right, this is how it's going to be. I think it's going to work great. All of a sudden you start streaming. Well, shit, something didn't go right. I need to make sure I fix this, make sure I fix that.
It's trial and error.
So you know that this next time when we do another charity event, you'll be more prepared for 100%. That. But then there's still going to be things that come up. There's going to be still things that come up that you're going to be like, I should have done that differently or that differently. And
there's always room for every single
I will also say that regardless of how difficult it was, I think the charity event went great. There were a few tiny little hiccups.
Which were totally unrelated to us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But overall, it was great. You did a great job throwing that together, even if it was all majority 90% by yourself. I think you did a great job.
One of my favorite moments was when we were all doing the team up one, and we all got on top of the car.
That was so great. There was like 20 of us standing on top of this one car.
Yeah. When I was that almost didn't make it to the final cut, because when I had like 10 ideas, because we were obviously doing 6 games in total. The first one is going to be a normal game, and I had like 10 ideas. What can we do? What restrictions can we introduce to those different games? And that almost didn't make it, for the sole reason I thought that no one would team up with another squad. I didn't expect anyone, because what I was expecting
we had like
is you
4 or 5 squads teaming up with us.
Yeah, you show up and you're going to be shot, and that's it. That's the end of the game. So it wouldn't make any sense to do that game. But you know what? It turned out to be, I think the most...
You can actually thank the British Army Esports for making that happen, because everybody wanted them gone.
Yeah. So true. They were gunning after him. Everybody before in the pregame lobby was like, all right, everybody gang up on the British Army.
Yeah.
Well, they ran the first, 4 events? Like, they destroyed everybody.
Yeah. They made some people rage quit, from what I heard, too.
So we just, everybody's like, that's it. Go after them. We need them
But
out.
I will say we did become friends with the Johnny and Metas.
Yeah. Metas is great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One of the coolest.
We see Metas all the time.
We actually did an interview with Metas and Johnny.
Yeah, I watched it. I watched the whole episode. I'm one of your fans.
That was a good one.
One of your fans, man.
Oh,
one of the fans.
Yay.
One of us. One of us.
Yeah, because here's the thing: when you do something, when you do a podcast, you should also keep watching those your peers and how they do things, and you can get them to inspire you in so many ways. So I also watch and listen to a lot of podcasts out there. So
well, we appreciate everything that you've done, not just for us, but for everybody. The charity events, stuff like that. You're an amazing person. You do a lot of work that nobody probably sees behind the scenes.
This wasn't a very easy journey, as I said at the beginning, but I think a lot of credit goes to especially the actors, the voice actors, because they are the ones who created this concept of co-hosting, coming back and doing. So a lot of credit goes to them, actually. I'm just someone who makes things happen, but they are the ones who bring the that aspect into play. So this wouldn't have been possible without them, obviously. And a lot of people, and you should keep in mind, these people, as I mentioned, they're not really gaining anything from this. It's not like I'm paying them to come back and do this, and so which makes you appreciate them even more, because how I see it, let's say I text an actor today and they're like, hey, let's do it, and I'm trying to come up with a good match, like for that episode. So I think of a couple of names and I just call them and, hey, this guy is going to be the next on the show. Would you like, because you have something that you can bring to the conversation. So would you like to be part of that? And they're like, okay, tell me when. It's not something that you can take for granted, right? It's not like I'm forcing them, or I heard some rumors from some haters, like it's fun, but there are a lot of haters out there, and they're saying I'm just annoying these actors with inviting them back over and over. And I'm like, I'm not forcing them in any way. They're the ones who decide to come back, and mostly like the reason why certain actors couldn't join us for certain episodes is because they had other plans, not because they didn't want to,
Yeah.
So,
right.
So you're primarily on Twitch, right?
Yeah.
That's where most of this realm lives. Okay. How did you come up with the name?
Okay.
For your podcast.
So here's the thing. I used to play. I'm a gamer since I was a kid. So
sure.
One of my favorite games of all time, or franchise of all time, is obviously Call of Duty. And because I started playing Call of Duty since the very first one, every single one, even the spin-offs and Metal Gear Solid.
That's dedication.
Yeah.
That's a lot of dedication.
So, and Metal Gear Solid, like the Metal Gear franchise. And I think I created an account around 2015, 2016. That was around the time where Metal Gear Solid, The Phantom Pain came out. And the main guy was named Venom Snake. His code name was Venom Snake. So when I was creating because I wanted to jump on and watch those, streamers that I love, I didn't think much of the name, but, the only thing that I could think of is just that guy from the game, Venom Snake. And I think that name was taken, so I added 141 because of, task force 141 from COD. So that was the thing. That's cool. And when I started streaming, I don't know if I told you my story, but the only reason why I started streaming is because I was playing, and during COVID, I was playing with my squad, and we used to clip, certain, moments from our gameplay, and it took a lot of time just to, copy and send and share and all that. Some of us were playing on PlayStation, which made it even harder to
more difficult.
So. And I told him, you know what? I have a Twitch channel. I'll start streaming, and we can just watch the VOD. So it's me streaming for us, and that's it. And no one was watching, I think, for 6 months or so, other than us, of course, if we wanted to go back and watch the VOD. And I got into a COD community, and I thought, you know what? They're not doing like custom games, so I thought I'll start doing custom games, Warzone games, Rebirth Island, and all that. And we used to do it on almost daily basis. So that's how I started streaming. And a lot of people loved the concept, and we kept doing it until I started doing the podcast. But the thing is, I couldn't do both. So here's the thing, like with everything that I'm doing in life and work and all that, and like streaming games that I play and also doing the podcast. I think that was something impossible to do. So I had to sacrifice something. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to focus on doing the podcast. And I'm not going to do any gameplay streams or so.
Nothing wrong with that. That's cool. That's cool.
It's worked out for you. So, I mean, it's a good choice.
Yeah.
I mean, you're doing things the right way, and usually the ones who do things the right way it may take longer to get where you want it to be, but it definitely is more rewarding in the long run than a quick fame.
Yeah, ironically, the only because we talked about this earlier. Ironically, the only guest that I had, or two guests that I had from a game that just came out, are Bruce and Damon. Like that, because I invited a lot of actors, but they were from games that were released last year, or 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, or 10 years ago, But the only guests that I had when the game actually came out were Bruce and Damon. Bruce after 3 days when Black Ops 6 came out, and Damon after 1 week. So that was the only instance where I invited someone where around the time their game released, because that's not the focus, right? So I let the other podcasters, the other interviewers, to cover those games when they come out, but I'm just doing this for the sole purpose of bringing people together and making a change, and creating friendships. Not just me with them, but between the actors themselves. I don't know if you've heard Moss talk about it, but when we did the episode, the first episode ever, co-hosted by another actor, Moss and Jim were casually talking, and Moss was I don't know, he brought up topic, I think, game cons, and Jim was like, I've never been to a game con, so take me with you. It was a joke, right? And when Jim, said that, Moss was like, you know what, that's going to be a very cool idea. So 3 months or 4 months after that, they just went to a game con together.
That's cool.
Yeah, and
that's cool.
After the Warzone event, Abdul and Damien, we were playing Warzone together, and they started having a conversation. Where do you live? And they figured out they live on the same street. So the next day they went out and they had coffee together. So you know what?
That's ironic.
Yeah. So a lot of people actually met, and they became friends on the show, which makes it even more rewarding. When you think of it, what kind of impact you're making out there. It's those moments. Yeah, those moments are very, very rewarding when you look back at them.
That's awesome.
Well, cool. So you've interviewed, a handful of guests.
Oh my God, I know where you're going with this, and I'm oh my God, he's gonna ask me. What was my favorite one? Oh my God.
No, I was gonna ask you what your least favorite one was. No, I'm just kidding. No, is there a moment out of all of the interviews that you've done that just sticks out way more than anything else? A story, or maybe an interaction, or just even trying to get somebody on there,
Okay, just a disclaimer. I was very excited when every single one of these people just agreed to be on the show. So, because usually it's, when... No, I'm just saying this
he doesn't want to put himself in the doghouse.
No, I'm just saying this because when you do this, it's not like this. Okay, this is how I do it. I send an email or a message, and I just forget about it, and then out of nowhere, someone would just email me or message me back, and they're like, "Hey, this sounds like fun." So that moment itself is very exciting. I'm just looking back at my previous episodes just to remind myself of a specific moment that happened. Okay, yeah, I remember. So here's the thing. There's a story behind it. I don't know if you have the time to listen to it, but
go ahead.
Okay, so when I started doing the show, I invited James C. Burns, right? And I liked the idea of doing a podcast with actors, and I was telling people, hey, because it was after Cold War came out, and I was a big fan of Adler and Highland Park. They were my main operators on that game. So I was just casually talking on stream, and some of my friends were watching, and they're like, I told them, you know what, you can't, how would it feel like just to sit down and talk to these two actors? So, and it became a meme. Like, who the hell do you think you are just to talk to these actors? Okay, you invited James C. Burns, it worked out for you, but who the hell do you think you are? You just did, And it became a meme, and every single time I talk about the show, they're bringing that up every single time. So fast forward. Okay, that was one of the reasons why I wanted to have Bruce on episode 5. So he was scheduled to be on episode 5, but it didn't work out very well, which became also a meme because I announced the episode and I had to cancel it. So it was way funnier than it was before. So fast forward, when I got the chance to actually have Bruce on the game. And ironically, after Black Ops 6 came out, we did the episode with Bruce. And then I started reaching out to more people from Black Ops 6. Because, when you have a big name like Bruce and Damon, like the main guys, especially after the game came out, you can get more people on board. So I started messaging more.
You kind of have leverage.
Yeah, you can call it that way. I see it that way because people are going to ask who do you have on the show, and or people are going to be familiar because they follow each other on socials. So they're going to be familiar. When you reach out, they're going to be familiar with, and I have some tips for you regarding that, by the way. But they're going to be familiar with your show even before you reach out because they've seen the post, they reacted to the post, they commented on the post. They've seen it at least. So they know that you invited that guy. And we invited Lily Coles, who played Helen Park, which was another actor that I wanted to have on the show. So when Lily confirmed and we wanted to schedule the episode, who's going to be on it, I told Mars I know exactly who's going to be on it. So I wasn't friends with Bruce back then, other than having him on the show, obviously. And I reached out to him and I told him, hey, Bruce, I got something that I need to discuss with you. And he was like, yeah, tell me. And I told him this whole story about, that I wanted to have you and Lily on the show at some point. So I can't think of like a better moment than having you together on the same episode. I told him, I know we interviewed you like 2 weeks ago, but I want you to come back and co-host that episode because that would mean a lot,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, just it's not like I'm just responding to those people. I made peace with myself. I'm not someone that would try to do something just to piss someone off. Those people off, even though that was hurtful back in the day when you think about it. But it was a statement that even your wildest thoughts and dreams can come true at some point. That was a statement for myself and not for anybody else. And when I when I talked to Bruce about it, he said one thing. He said, "Let's make your vision a reality," and that's the only thing he said. He didn't think twice about it. He said, "Let's do it." And when we did the episode, I think it was one of the best episodes. I mean, obviously, I mentioned the story when I started the stream, and Lily said, "Where are these guys?" And I want to talk to them. I want to tell them, "Hey, I'm here." So who's laughing now? But that turned out to be one of the best episodes that we've ever done on the show. So yeah, that was a defining moment when when I look back at the episodes we've done. That was a very defining moment that stands out every time I look back and think about prior episodes. 100%.
Cool.
For sure.
That's really cool, man.
But again,
awesome.
That doesn't deny the fact that every episode is a dream come true. If you wanna look at it.
Oh, I'd imagine every time you get a voice actor to
it's not just a random voice actor. It's someone that you grow up seeing in the games and all that. So like we did I think 2 episodes focused on cinema and TV, and I was a big fan of the TV show 24, Jack Bauer and all that. Yeah. So
great show.
Yeah. So when I invited, I had the idea. I'm a big fan of Bill Buchanan, like portrayed by James Morrison, and when I invited him, that was a very cool thing because we've just focused on doing games, But I wanted to talk to this guy, and when he agreed to be on an episode, I was like, "This is so cool," So
that's awesome.
As I mentioned, I only invite the guys, the actors that I'm personally a fan of. So every single episode is so rewarding.
Yeah. That's what makes it. I think what makes your podcast different than a lot of other people's is that it is very personal for you. Not only you, but you bring these voice actors and these actors that are personal to everybody else because we did all grow up with these people and we did all have memories playing these characters, and it's awesome. I just think it's amazing. Like the community that you've built around this and the things that, you know, you've accomplished are just, they're just amazing. It's great. Yeah. It's great stuff.
I think all this happened because you need, basically, this is how I see it. You need to stop thinking about, here's the thing, this is, maybe we can take the conversation into a different topic, but when streamers, when content creators start thinking about what kind of exposure I'm gaining from this, how can I grow up? You know, you need to stop asking those questions. You need to focus on, because as a streamer, you need to do this because you love to do it, not because you're expecting to gain something back from it. You know.
Exactly.
So, and a lot of people just focus on that. Hey, I want to be famous. I want to become a Twitch partner. I want to become a YouTube partner. Yeah. Okay, I mean, it's not. If that's their dream, I mean, and I don't mind it by all means. But a lot of people are doing this the wrong way. People that are, you know, start, like back when I started streaming, I noticed a lot of people that were part of my community. They started doing it too because they thought, oh, this guy sucks at playing Warzone. So by the way, I was very bad at playing Warzone because I was playing Apex Legends, so I didn't spend a lot of time playing Warzone.
I'm still bad at Warzone, so
man, I need to. You know what? I'm gonna show you. Okay, I'm gonna show you like some clips that you can post with this episode, just to give people an idea about how bad I was. So I was running the Rose skin back in the day, and I think Mara, and every single when we used to do the private games, people recognize me from my skin, and they were, you know, making fun of me. They were jumping around me and slide canceling and doing all kind of dances, and I was like clueless. How can I take these guys down? So they were, you know, they were making fun of me in so many ways. So I was bad. I sucked at the game. I'm not gonna deny it. And a lot of people have started asking the question. So if this guy sucks at playing, so we have a very good chance to, you know, become as famous as him, because I used to average maybe 60, 70 viewers around that time. So they thought we have a chance, right? So when they started doing it and no one showed up, they stopped doing it. And, you know, because they thought, okay, I mean, they're very good players. They're not even like decent. They're very, very good. But they thought, you know, skill is what it takes to do this. No, it's not like when you're a streamer, you're like a TV host basically, right? So people are gonna watch you because of the vibe, because of what your vibe, how you do things, you know, the fun moments and all that. So and a lot of people, you know, they think, yeah, you know, if I'm good at this game, I have a very good chance at standing out, which is not how things work, right?
Not always, no.
Yeah, so most people, you know, they do this and they expect to gain something back, and that's the only reason. And I think they're thinking, they're looking at this the wrong way. So you need to do this because you love it and you want to impact someone by doing what you do, and you want to spread, you know, positive vibes and that kind of stuff. So if your main focus is those aspects, all the good things will come along without you doing anything. They're just gonna happen, you know. Because when I started doing this, I had no intention other than, first of all, when I was playing Warzone, just to bring the community together, right? So that was the only reason, and it worked out. And we did tournaments, and we did, you know, so many big streams and all that. So, and that gave me like a chance to collaborate with also some big streamers and co-host like some private games with them. So that was I didn't have that in mind, but it happened, right? So when I started doing the podcast, the only reason why I did it is because I wanted to meet those actors that I'm a fan of, right? And everything else that happened, it just happened. I didn't start this with the intention of sitting down with that guy and making like a big event with all these guys. I had no idea that these things will happen. So you just do it because you love it, and all the good things will happen, you know?
100%. Yeah, I go into every stream with the idea of, I'm here to entertain. I'm here to make sure that everybody's just having a good time. And I've always said from the very beginning that this is a hobby. This is never meant to be a full-time thing. This isn't, I'm just here to have fun playing games with my buddies and letting people watch and laugh at us for it. So it's worked out.
It's all about passion.
Yep.
It's all about the passion
100%.
of it.
It's all about the
Couldn't
passion.
agree
of
more.
it.
More passion, more energy.
More passion, more energy.
Which was basically absent during the Warzone event. No energy.
He was still, even during the middle of a vid, he was still on edge.
I'm sorry I had to make that clip, but it was the right thing to do, Just to, if someone would ask me about what did you take from that event, and I'm like, Vigilante's reaction when he was killed. So
yeah, well, I thought that event exposed my inability to be good at that game to the fullest of its extent.
Same. I think my team's best was I think 8th place or something, 9th, 8th. So
our best one was the first one that we ran into, and it ended up being me versus the British Army esports team. That's what sucked.
Oh no, I hated that. It was you and me at the very end, and I got javelined in the face, and metas won't let it go.
Even though just because a lot of people accuse me of not dedicating a lot of time to balance the teams, I talked to the guy Martin who was in charge of the esports team, and he promised me that he's going to just bring casual players. So I told him these people are just going to be, running around doing silly things, so don't expect them to be pro gamers. And he was like, yeah, I got it.
Then Metas told us that they were told that it's a bunch of, sweats.
Yeah.
It's going to be in there and, big gamers. And
he said they had one player on their team that was a casual player, and then the rest of them were just some of their better people.
Yeah, and the other teams had one good player and 3 clueless players on each team. So
I thought I had a good squad. I picked out the best people.
I mean,
then I ended up with Stubbins.
During the pre-show, I was shitting. I was shitting my pants basically when Vigilante said. We got energy drinks and we're ready to
we're locked in.
And I was like,
dude, the whole week before, what sucked is we had such short time. So the whole week before we started working on communication, we started dropping into matches, and we were trying to work on communication, working on our work together and stuff like that.
As soon as that game started, that first match started, all of that was out the window.
Same with my squad.
It was gone. Your communication meant nothing. We were just
actually no, Vigi. I think our first match, the communication was good, and then after that,
I would say the first match went well, except for us being up against the British Army at the very end.
Yeah,
I think the British Army should be banned from this.
They're gonna be. So what I have, I can share.
Or they
some
should only
ideas.
all get knives.
No, they're gonna be part of the event, but not the way you expect it. So the British Army sports team is gonna act according to what. So the next event is gonna be unique. Oh my god, I can't wait to do it. I can talk about it if you want to. So
it's up to you if you want.
So we're gonna get.
Do you want to give out maybe some information coming up?
Okay, so a lot of teams are gonna return from the first event, obviously, and we're gonna have some other teams, new teams from Black Ops 7, led by some of the actors and voice actors from BO7.
Oh,
and they're gonna be 3 factions. So they're gonna be the team leaders. The same faction that the same teams that started in the first event plus the new ones. You're gonna have the lone survivor who was featured in the in that clip, the final ending. Italiano is gonna retaliate. So that's gonna be a different story and a very intriguing story. And you're gonna have, for the first time, we will do a very interactive event where. Before starting the match, there's going to be a cutscene explaining what's going to happen in this mission, with 2 options. So the viewers will see the cutscene, and they're gonna be asked to vote on what the outcome should be. So, and then after the the vote, actually after when we do the vote and the result comes up, the British Army sports team is going to be dispatched to do what what the viewers voted for. So it's gonna be like that. There's gonna be obviously a second plot twist at the end, but for the most part, the Verdansk, we're gonna do different games in Verdansk, Rebirth Island, and Avalon, because Avalon is gonna be introduced, I think, season 2 or season 3, and so yeah. But the main highlight of the event is that it's gonna be like branching story with different outcomes, and I had to do like a whole setup on what's gonna happen if this is what the viewers are gonna vote for. And
right.
Yeah, I saw the picture that you posted. It was like the whole time.
That's
like
the timeline. That's the timeline for the whole
stuff.
event. So we have 4 endings, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. So I talked to Bruce about the ending, like one of the endings that's tied to his character, and he loved it. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I mean, it's gonna be better organized than the first event. We heard the complaints about the British Army sports team, so they're gonna still be part of it, but they will bring more balance this time to the game.
From what I heard, they told them to bring some of the retired people that are older. Is what I was told.
I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this, but there's gonna be. Can I say it? There's gonna be a second. For one of the missions, there's gonna be a second professional team that's gonna join the British Army sports team.
Oh no!
Oh no!
So yeah,
I need to start scouting. It sounds like.
Yeah, looks like we need to start working on our skills.
Let's scout some professional players for our team.
Gotta replace me as soon as possible, huh?
You stabbed me in the back. I was trying to replace you after that.
Yeah, I figured so.
There's gonna be a lot of. I'll tell you what. There's gonna be a lot of stuff like teams are gonna be allowed to team up with other squads. There's gonna be more of that because some missions will require a lot of teamwork and coordination between teams.
That's awesome. I'm really excited to see where this is going, and I really, really hope, fingers crossed, that I have enough time to join this time around.
I'll tell you in advance. The only reason is because of delay. Why we delayed this is because I'm focused stuff that I mentioned before the episode. But other than that,
of course,
I'm looking forward to making that event happen.
And obviously, no rush. Like, do your thing. You did great on the first one, so we know this one's going to be. Just as good, if not better.
100%.
I'm probably going to go ahead and reach out to Monster and see if they'll go ahead and send stuff to me, because it's got to be 12 weeks out. So I'm just going to tell them it's 12 weeks away, so they'll send it, and then
you're just going to drink them and you're going to show up highly caffeinated, and
that's how us Americans do.
Yeah,
we do everything
all day,
highly
every day.
Caffeinated.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but
anyways.
Thinking about it, I think it's going to be way, way bigger than the first event. From a storyline perspective, it's going to be way bigger. Also, the chance that the viewers will get to decide. They're going to be voting on certain things. The British Army sports team is going to assist this. This faction or the other faction. They're going to be hunting that squad or this squad. So a lot of very, very big decisions are going to be made during that event. So the viewers are not going to be passively, watching. They're going to be part of the event, which is
I think that's really cool. Keeping them in.
Yeah, I think that'll bring more people to it also, and make people want to participate more.
Just by even by watching you're shaping, the whole story. So that's gonna be impactful.
Definitely need to start doing once we get everything ironed out when it's going to be, just start immediately just putting it out there on all of our socials too. But
we'll start.
What's going to be?
We'll
doing our little
campaign,
advertising.
Yeah, so we're gonna promote this event differently. I have ideas that I can talk about off stream. I don't want to spoil too much.
Yeah,
but
no, you're fine.
We have some cool ideas on how we're gonna promote this.
I love it.
Exactly.
I love it.
I think this will actually be a great stopping point. So I'm going to go ahead and say that we've done a really well job. Thank you for coming on to the episode.
Oh, thank you.
Much appreciated.
Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, it's always
to invite me in.
It was a great episode. We'd love to have you back again sometime.
You know, we were joking about, you know, Vidgie being on that one podcast. It was like 4 hours or whatever. Just listening to the stories, I'm like, man, we could go for well over 6 hours.
Yeah,
yeah, we could.
I was too scared if that would have ever happened. Yeah, no, you know what? It's you know, I really love talking to people and connecting to people. Believe it or not, it's just, you know, I'm not really in the mood, you know, to be fully honest with you. I'm not really in the mood to talk to anybody now. But when Vigilante like reached out, I was like, this is gonna be a lot of fun, you know. Because
well, I'm glad that you agreed, and it was a lot of fun.
100%.
And again, like I said, I would love to have you back on at some point, if not for just another interview, or maybe just on as a co-host sometime.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
You can help us
I can bring one of my friends and force them to do this again.
We talk about everything of gaming, you know, from like streaming to maybe new tech that's coming out, new games. You know, it'd be kind of interesting to see like, oh, you know, what do you think about this game that's coming out, or have you played this 100%. Game? What do you think of that?
You think I can, I can bring some value to the conversation. 100%. I mean, you don't have to ask.
Oh, you always bring value to everything that you're a part of. I mean, you do some amazing work, and it'd be great to have you back for sure.
And what if we did this the other way around? What if I invited some new guests to my show and invited the three of you to co-host? How about that? I'm trying to play an Uno reverse card now, so I'm just playing the
hit us with the Uno reverse. This man's a professional, guys.
Yeah, he is.
So it's because not just the actors are co-hosting. If you've noticed, I also invite some other streamers who I'm sure they can add a lot to the conversation. So last time I invited Debunk Wood, like the guy had nothing to do with podcasts or anything, but he was amazing in that episode. And Elvish, I also invited her to co-host some episodes with us. So you know what? It's at the end of the day, it's not about me. It's about all the people involved. You know, so that's how I see it.
You made that very clear that it's all about.
It's all about the people.
Yeah.
Yes, and we love it.
So let's do this. Let's do that, and then maybe I'll consider coming back to your show.
Yeah, for sure. I'm down.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Cool.
So where can people find you?
On Twitch, PhantomSnake141, Instagram, my real name Marwen Heni, and don't count YouTube yet. I'm not there yet. So
okay.
Yeah. Well, if you're cool with it, I'll put
put down in the
stuff in here. You know, we'll put your stuff in there.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate that.
Yeah. This has been a great episode. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, everywhere. Social media, TikTok. So social medias. This has been a great episode. Thank you guys for joining us, and have a great night.
Thanks a lot.
Bye, guys.
Catch y'all on the next one.